Edge Specialist Advice Network. I hope you're all well. Hey, today I wanted to just impart a little bit of knowledge on you that I have been learning while I'm here in Bali. I'm in Bali. I'm here doing some work, seeing one of my clients. We've funded a project for him over here. He's building 6 villa units, and then he's going to on-sell most of them and keep 1 or 2 maybe to rent out as an income stream. But for those of us who wanted to understand what it means to own property overseas, and is it even possible to own it, can it be done as a Westerner? So I went and spent some time with a lawyer so I could impart some of this information on there. None of this is legal advice. This is the field we've got, and this is pretty much how it's sort of done over here. Obviously, if you were ever doing any contract work, you would definitely see a specialist lawyer who would understand what it means to deal with legal documents in another country. But most people would know, or people probably do know, that mostly in Indonesia and Bali, if you're not a citizen, you can't hold land title like we would understand the fashion is in Australia or in Canada, the US, Mexico. And so what you have to do is, or what you get is, you get a big long lease. You get a big long lease, you get a 25-year lease that you can, pretty much the document says you can extend that another 25, then you can extend another 25, and so on. So effectively you still get control of that asset, and a few things would come straight to mind straight away. It's like, okay, so what if I've done this, I've leased this block of land, I've built a property on it, I'm living there. It's my holiday house in Bali, and when I'm not in Bali, I'll rent it out, Airbnb, I make good money. It helps pay for my flights for the next trip over. And we go, well, what happens if I die? Okay, so in that lease, it specifically states that the rights to the lease get passed on to your successors. And so what would happen in practice is, if you did pass away, and then the executor of your will would have to make a trip to Bali, probably at the expense of the estate actually, and make sure that the lease is documented and transferred over into the name of the successor or successors. So that's interesting. Somebody's going to get a tax deductible trip to Bali. Well, it's not tax deductible, but on the estate, they're going to get a flight and a holiday. So that was one concern. The other one is like, okay, what happens if I'm collecting rent? What's the deal? What does the Indonesian government expect of me? And the answer is that they have a tax treaty with a lot of countries, so a dual tax arrangement, which means you get a credit for any tax you may pay in one, and you go back and claim that tax credit against the income you might have had in another country. So let's say that was Australia. And they do have a tax arrangement with a lot of dual tax arrangement, and it sounds like the tax rate's about 20-21% that the Indonesian government would expect for you to basically pay them, and then you, in theory, you would get a credit in your country of that amount. So you're going to pay tax somewhere. Look, we always advise that we do pay our taxes and in the right way, legally, but also legally try to avoid them. So that's okay too. And then it was like, okay, so what are some of the yields that I could expect over here? Look, it seems to be quite high. You might get yields between 10 and 15% for a standard long-term lease, and if you're running an Airbnb, you might get between 20 and 25%. So some decent returns that you just probably can't get in a Western country at the moment. When I look around Bali at the moment, I'm probably pretty much gobsmacked by the amount of construction that's going on, and I'm not talking about big like high-rise crane construction. There's none of that here, but just everywhere you go. Like, we went up right back into some of the suburbs to have a look around and really get a feel for it. I walked for 2 hours on purpose to just have a real good feel. That's what you've got to do if you want to start investing money, or if your clients want to invest money and they want to ask you about what have you seen there. You've got to get right into it. I don't want to go into the tourist areas, but there is construction everywhere. There's a lot of Nordic money here, so there's a lot of money from up around Sweden, Denmark, Netherlands. There's a lot of Russian money here, and there's always a lot of Chinese money here as well. So there isn't a lot of Australian money here, and Australians, I think you're lazy. You're missing the boat. Like there's a lot going on here. I'm pretty amazed. I mean, it's flooded with Australians doing Australian things. This is the surf area, and everyone's here having their coffees and their cold pressed this and that and vegan something or others, and you know all the beautiful people here are here being very fit. But I'm not hearing that many of them are actually doing any investing, where they're actually constructing something or creating something new. They might go and buy a condo off the plan or something, but nothing's really not many people, comparatively how close we've been. We've been coming to Bali for 40, 50 years, right? At least a good 30. And we haven't bothered to see that there's, an advantage to invest in a cheaper country that is starting to grow. So it's a bit of a shame. So, look, guys, I just thought this is a little bit different from some of the other countries we've been to in relation to holding title. It is the lease system that you would know about very well in Asia. So you're leasing it off an Indonesian national, but the lease document, I read the lease document, went to saw a lawyer, we've got a lease document, we've got a rental document, and he said they were very standard, so I was sort of reading them and I've got a good feel for it, and I sort of understand what that means. Now this would concern some of you. Some of you would go, look, if I can't hold clear title, then I don't want to invest that way, and I understand that, I fully get that. Have you had a look at your title deed in Australia though? You do realise that the crown, so the king still has an encumbrance on your block of land. We don't own our land as much as we think we do. However, it makes us feel comfortable at night, right? Okay, so look guys, how would we finance something in Bali? When I'm speaking to people here in Bali, what we would normally do is you would try and do lines of credit, equity release against investment properties or other, maybe even your home, you might have it in Australia, and then you would take the money over here. I've been talking to one developer that does have some finance options, like he might finance back or allow for a deposit style or a later deposit style for completion of the contract, in little stages over 5 years. So for example, you might have 70% of the money ready to go, you can bring it over here, and he will allow you to pay the next 30% off over a period of time. And the reason is because they understand that foreigners can't just come over to the bank, to an Indonesian bank and get a standard loan. It's not really done that way over here, so hard money does exist and it suits a purpose. And one of the reasons that it exists that way is because the holding the title, the security for the lender is a little bit different. But there's, wherever there's a will, there's a way. Money is achievable, to be got from any source and any means. And so, again, you would just look at whatever that contract is for that deposit style payment to the developer, and then you would have your condo. Look, a lot of them have, so they've got their own sort of leasing package, rental team, leasing team, Airbnb team. That's pretty common these days for developers who want to do it properly and want a continuation of existing clients. They know that it's in their best interest to make sure they can get the condos or the units rented or the villas rented, and make sure that they have a good experience, tell their friends, tell their family, come and go again, so they can keep rolling forward. Because if developers don't keep developing, they die. That's how it sort of rolls. So anyway guys, look, it's been interesting being here at Bali. If you love surfing and if you love yoga and Pilates and reformer Pilates and fitness and all that sort of stuff, I'm down here at Canggu, close to Echo Beach, not far from Seminyak. I would call it a mega Instagram spot at the moment. So beautiful here, but yeah, there is so much development going on. Maybe, just maybe, it's worth a look. And would you like to own a piece of, a little holiday unit in Bali that you could rent out, make a decent income stream, come over, use it, leave some of your things here. So the world is your oyster. Nice to see somewhere that you can make better returns than property in Australia. All right, that's enough from me, guys. Remember, life is a family sport. Give yours next. See ya.